Hello, friends. Welcome to 2026 Future Predictions, Episode 7. And although this prediction does have to do with 2026, it's actually more about 2027 through 2036. It's really important that you listen to this video, especially if you're someone who's mindful of money and your future and you want to know what's going on. So here is my take. If you haven't already, hit follow and or subscribe and head on over to AstroDevi.com where you could book your personal Vedic Astrology reading, where you could get insights into 2026, 2027, whatever year that you want to know about the future, what you're planning. But remember, I am your go-to Vedic Astrologer, psychic medium, and spiritual mentor, helping you make the best and the most of your life and what's going on in the world. So listen to this prediction. It's something you definitely do not want to miss. In 2026, there's something that's happening in 2027, and the effects is going to extend as far as 2036. Now, why am I sharing this with you? Because everything that you do now is going to prepare you for the future, and of course I want you to be ready for what's coming up ahead. So I just follow along with me. I'm going to share the chart so you get it kind of like a visual of what I'm sharing with you. Now, back in the day when the United States began, it wasn't until June of 1985 that the dollar was introduced. And this was a really huge thing. And it wasn't finalized until like July of 1785. At that time, Rahu and Pluto retrograde were 22 degrees conjunct in Capricorn in the second house of the United States chart. Okay, so bear with me. Now, I said to myself, something's going on with the currency, but I don't feel like it's going to last for a very long time. However, my definition of long and your definition of long might feel a little bit different. So moving ahead, I said to myself, well, there's going to be the Pluto and Rahu conjunction taking place next year. I wonder what this is about. So looking at the conjunction next year on November 16, 2026, Rahu and Pluto are going to be conjunct in Capricorn. What is that signature? That signature is that there is going to be a new currency here in the United States of America. Very likely it's going to be a digital currency, right? Because that's what they've been talking about, trying to roll out the whole digital currency. But is it going to last? I always say, I've been saying for years, if they roll out a digital currency, it's not going to last because it just doesn't work. I personally have a really big issue with the digital currency because it takes away privacy. There's no privacy. The government has full control of your finances. They're always saying, hey, we're doing it. They made in Europe, but now here in the US, they have all these rules, restrictions about how much money you could withdraw, how much cash you could use, how much cash, for this and that. It's absolutely ridiculous. And they say that they want to safeguard against money laundering, which in my opinion is a complete bullshit lie. It's just a guise to take control over people's finances. But here's what's really interesting. I am going to say it's going to be very tough living in a digital currency world with no cash. The reason is because it takes away so much of your privacy. I mean, who wants everybody to know what they're spending? Who wants the government to have control? If you're being naughty with your mouth, if you're doing something that they don't like, they're going to stop you from using your money. They're going to stop you from buying things. This is not a real life to live in that way, right? So here's where it gets really interesting. So I fast forwarded because I said, you know what? Pluto is going to be in Capricorn for quite a while. So that means at some point K2 is going to conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. So here's where it gets interesting. It's going to happen at 26, almost 27 degrees in Capricorn. At that point, it's going to square transit Sun on May 12th, 2036. What is that signature? Well, when K2 and Pluto conjunct, that is Grim Reaper style shit. What does that mean? That means that the currency that was created in 2027 is now going to be null and void. It's going to be dismantled. It's going to be destroyed. It's like absolute destruction, because when Pluto and K2 get together, it's wipeout. It's dissolving. It's getting rid of, it's just a detachment. It's severing, right? It's a disillusion, and that has to do with the currency because second house is money. It's money. So that means there are some other stuff. I didn't go into it any deeper, but I really wanted to see what was going on with the finances here, because that's really important. That's going to help you to plan ahead with your family. Now, in addition to that, I want to talk about 2026. There's going to be, Jupiter is going to be transiting in Cancer, and it's going to trine Saturn retrograde in Pisces. Now, here's the thing, which is really important, because Jupiter is a wealth planet and it's exalted in Cancer, which is great for wealth and for money and abundance and prosperity and expansion. And it's going to trine Saturn, which is retrograde. Okay, so Saturn, when it's direct, is very restricting. When it's retrograde, not as restricting. There's a bit bending of the rules. But Cancer has to do with home, has to do with security, has to do with assets, has to do with land. And Jupiter, right? Saturn, excuse me, in Pisces, Saturn itself has to do with the past, but the combination of the trine between the two has to do with legacy. Now, for a long time, the idea of having generational wealth, generational homes was really just for the elites. But now this is going to reach the middle and lower class families, where people are starting to, this year they're going to start to realize that they need to create generational wealth for families because of what's coming up ahead. So I'm sharing this information with the currency because one thing's for sure: if you have land, the land is yours, right? Unless it's absolutely destroyed, then the government could come and take it over. And I know that the world elite has this plan to have a digital currency, to make sure that you don't own anything, but that's not going to happen. The digital currency, yeah, for a short time. Well, my short time and your short time is a little bit different, right? It's like for about 10 years, but what I'm saying to you, it's not going to work. It's going to be a complete fail. People eventually are going to get pissed off. And guess what? It's better to be pissed off than pissed on, right? So make sure, beginning this year, talk with your family, okay? Get together. Start creating generational wealth for your family. Start building homes that are going to last from generation to generation to generation. Don't think this is impossible, folks. You're going to start seeing people build homes not with sticks anymore, but with like real concrete, like they did back in the days. If you don't think generational homes is real, look at what they do in the UK. There's homes that are almost 1,000 years old. They keep fixing it and rebuilding it. So there's going to be this big grand idea that finally is going to hit so many people in the US that they're going to realize that, hey, we can't just live for this generation, for today. We need to live and create something substantial that's going to last for generation to generation to generation. What's also interesting is because Cancer is also home business. You're going to see more families creating more family businesses, where businesses are going to go from parent to child to grandchild. Generational businesses are going to exist again, and it's a beautiful thing. Now here, take a note. Back in, when was it? July 25th, 1967, we had the Jupiter in trine, Jupiter in Cancer, trining Saturn in Pisces. At that time, there were some difficulties, meaning there was conflict with war, and let me go back here. I have my notes here, you guys. I'm so sorry. The U.S. economy was in a little bit of, was having some issues. But they were doing okay. It was okay, right? However, there was a little, prior to that, August 4th, 1907, there was another similar trine between Jupiter and Saturn, but Jupiter was in Cancer, and Saturn was in Pisces. Sorry, I'm like thinking multiple things at one time, and I gotta share things in a certain way so you guys could understand what I'm saying to you. But there were other transits happening, and I know that some people are concerned, is this going to bring like chaos, issues with rebellions? Look, it's possible, but there was also some other malefic planets that were in conjunction and aspecting each other at the time. I don't think it's going to be as like hostile this time around. I really don't, and also around that time of August, we're coming out of the Kala Sarpa Yoga that's taking place, and it's beginning in February, and it's going to be ending, where's my notes here? We're going to come out of that Kala Sarpa Yoga on August 1st, if I'm reading my handwriting right, because I scribbled so much notes. So it's an interesting time this year, but it's so important to really start putting your heads together as a family and start focusing on generational wealth, generational businesses. We are returning to a time like back in the day where, you know, families were known that, you know, the father was a blacksmith, the son is a blacksmith, the grandchildren are blacksmiths, everybody's a blacksmith. You know, people have their homes and their towns and their communities and their tribes. We're returning to those times again. It's not a bad thing. It's actually really valuable and really important. And people are going to understand that even more, especially because we have the eclipse coming up in February in Aquarius. And Aquarius is all about community. So people are going to start understanding that community is really important. And you're going to find more people wanting to get involved in their local communities, in their cities. And it's going to be very interesting to see this beautiful dynamic starting to really rise up. So I just want to share this little well, it's not that small of a tidbit of information, but it is actually really valuable for you that are looking to plan ahead and that are looking to outsmart these entitled SOBs that think that we are their pawns and that, you know, we need to do whatever it is that they want because they think that we basically owe them everything. We don't. We are all sovereign people, and so it's really important for you to maintain your sovereignty, your liberty, your independence, and whatever you do, do not let go of cash. Fight for cash as much as you can. Use cash as much as you can. I'm not gonna lie, I'm one of those people that are guilty. I very rarely go to the bank, and I like to just be in and out of the stores, and I should use more cash. But if we all consciously start using more cash, it's going to signal to the banks that something is going on and they cannot go through exactly with their plan. So just do a little action. It's not a big deal. Withdraw the freaking cash and use your monies. All right, you guys, I'll see you all in the next video.